Sheltered in Place looks at the artistic tradition of portraiture through a variety of artistic practices from the OAG's permanent collection and beyond, and is broken up into 3 sections. The first section is Portraits of Community and features work by Annie Pootagook. The artist lived in Ottawa for years, and these 4 drawings reflect her home community of Kingate, Nunavut from a personal lens. Another Ottawa artist in this section is Faiza Omer. She wanted to show the experiences of those in her community, a West End Ottawa neighborhood with a large Somali Canadian population. Working closely together, she and her brother, Abdullahi Omer, created an Instagram project. While her brother gathered his friends as subjects and collected their stories, Omer worked with them to capture their likenesses in dignified and sometimes humorous photographic portraits. She reveals the individuality and humanity of her young subjects, presenting a counter-narrative to the racism they endure and internalize every day. From this strange place of isolation and distance caused by the global pandemic, how do we view community? The artworks in this section give us reason to pause and think about the various communities that make up our city and region. Where and how do we all live? Where do we ourselves fit in right now? And what is our accountability to each other? Another artist in this section is Anishinaabe Ojibwe artist Ron Nagnosh, who was a staple of the Ottawa scene. He is best known for his original use of humor and irony to deliver pointed social commentary. The blurred charcoal lines in his drawing, Artist as an Old Man, show a man considering his ephemeral nature. By contrast, the whimsical group of quirky characters playing instruments in The Outsiders is a cheeky nod to his identity as an Indigenous artist working within the genre of outsider art. The found object sculpture thus considers Naganosh's experience of living on the margins, but making music just the same. The next section of the exhibition looks at self-portraiture. Christopher Lee Dunning is a longtime Ottawa artist who has created bookworks. Working on a separate page each day, Dunning reflects his thoughts and moods in brush, ink, and collaged photos, in mediums from sketchbooks to found art books, such as under the tipped-in plates of a book on the history of French painting. Ever engaging, Dunning's bookworks deliver a thoughtful and often humorous history of local characters and personal reflection on his place in the art world. In Inuk culture, fashion is also a form of self-portraiture and community expression. Martha Kayak is a designer from Nunavut who has been building her fashion line Inuk Chic in Ottawa. This sakyaguti is made of beads and sealskin, and her wallpaper design references Inuit tattooing traditions that were threatened by colonization. Jesse Unark's print portrait also reveals personal expression through tattoos of spiritual significance, and also features a sakyaguti. Together, their work celebrates cultural endurance over the generations. Looking at portraits of family, this film by Patrice James is a requiem for her mother. Composed primarily of found family photos, the overlaid recorded conversations blend into an original song. It explores the complication of family ties and is at once a portrait and a celebration of letting go. Chantal Dahan looks at her family members and their individual interpretations of the North American dream. The pink vinyl couch holds an unusual portrait of the artist's eldest sister. The couch, much like the TV, is a central piece of furniture in any home and references her sister's role as a pillar of stability and warmth for her 5 younger siblings. Following their immigration from France in 1968, when the artist was a youth, her family, consisting of her Jewish mother of Breton Catholic origin, her Jewish father of a French Algerian background, and siblings, experienced tumultuous years of adjustment. Here, the artist's younger sister, a glamorous, self-made entrepreneur, poses in front of a typical North American vinyl-sided house. Throughout his nearly 7-decade career, artist Robert Hindman was recognized as a skilled landscape painter, a war artist, and a master of traditional portrait painting. Fascinated by the endless variety of human expression, Hindman regularly returned to portraiture and completed a number of significant official commissions in Canada and Europe. Here, we find both casual and formal portraits of family members, including his parents, Ethel and James, his wife, Joan, and his daughters, Bridie and Margot. Returning to self-portraiture, in this conceptual mixed-media installation, Max Dean invites viewers to consider how objects can take on narrative meaning. The items on display reveal the artist's personal and professional lives, including family photographs, childhood toys, and references to previous artworks and performance works in Canada and abroad. In considering the objects on display, the viewer's portrait, captured in the mirrored reflection, also becomes part of the work. Placed among these objects, the viewer thus occupies the artist's space, and the installation becomes a site of close encounter and exchange. Artist Kosisa Chukup Nebe raises questions in her dynamic self-portraits. Rooted in a process of self-acceptance based on childhood experiences of internalized racism, her work explores a distinctly Black embodiment. The central work speaks to the peculiar sensation of feeling invisible and hypervisible at the same time, a sensation that, for the artist, is symptomatic of being Black in Canada. The two flanking works are dual portraits of the artist and viewer. In both works, there is a twofold revelation. As viewers find reflections of themselves in the center, and it's only in the margins that Nebe's image is revealed. This concept is reflected in a quote by James Baldwin, who wrote in 1963, "Well, I know this. Anyone who's tried to live knows this, that what you say about anyone else reveals you." The COVID-19 pandemic has evoked new emotional states such as isolation, fear, or anxiety that have given us fresh perspective on ourselves, our families, and our communities. Reflecting these challenging times, these artists raise provocative questions about who we are and how we perceive and acknowledge others. Perhaps then, living through the pandemic has offered a potential shift in perspective as we encounter the people in these portraits. From this fresh frame of mind, we can now more fully understand what these artists have been telling us about themselves and their communities all along.